What if I told you there's a human body that's been lying in a glass coffin for nearly a century, and it looks like she just fell asleep yesterday? This isn't some futuristic preservation technique. It's not ancient Egyptian embalming either. What happened dates back to the 1800s, and every scientist who studied it has walked away completely stunned. This is the mystery of Saint Bernadette Subaru. And once you hear what's been discovered, what's still happening today, you might start questioning everything you thought you knew about life, death, and what lies beyond. Pope Leo XIV recently made a powerful statement about it that's sending shockwaves through the Catholic world. Even if you're not religious, you'll want to hear this. But before we go on, let me ask, do you believe in miracles? If not, that might change in the next few minutes. Let's go back to 1858. A small town in southern France, practically unknown, Lourdes. A 14-year-old girl named Bernadette lived in extreme poverty. Her family slept in a repurposed jail cell. She couldn't read or write. She suffered from severe asthma. She had survived cholera, but her health was fragile. In the eyes of the world, she was invisible. But that was about to change. February morning, while gathering firewood, Bernadette wandered to a shallow cave near the river. That's where she saw a woman dressed in white with a blue sash glowing with a light unlike anything she'd ever seen. At first, people didn't believe her. Can you blame them? If a teenager today said she saw a glowing woman in a grotto, how would you react? But the visions didn't stop. The woman appeared again and again, a total of 18 times. Each time, more people came to watch. Some laughed, some prayed, some just wanted to see for themselves. Authorities didn't like it. They interrogated Bernadette, threatened her, tried to force her to admit it was a hoax, but she never backed down. Not once. Imagine the courage it takes for a teenage girl to stand up to priests, police, and her entire community and never change her story. Then came the moment no one expected. During one of the visions, the woman told her, "Dig into the ground right here." So Bernadette did with her bare hands in front of hundreds of people. At first, nothing. Then water out a spring started bubbling up from the ground where none had ever existed before. But it wasn't just any water. Within days, people began claiming it had healed them. The blind could see, the paralyzed could walk, the sick were being cured. It sounded unbelievable because it was. Then the woman revealed her identity. She looked at Bernadette and said, "I am the one heaven kept hidden until now." Bernadette didn't understand the meaning. She was uneducated, after all, but the phrase sent chills through the local clergy. It was unlike anything a poor, illiterate girl would invent on her own, and it didn't stop there. Even while she was alive, Bernadette became known for moments that defied explanation. There was a baby dying of tuberculosis. Given no chance to survive, a small cloth embroidered by Bernadette was placed over him. Within hours, the child recovered. Bernadette was under strict orders at her convent. She quietly placed the child on the floor. The girl stood up and ran. That little girl didn't just walk, she ran, as if nothing had ever been wrong with her legs. But what happened next is perhaps the most unbelievable moment of all. During one of the apparitions, Bernadette held a lit candle. At some point, the flame moved down and completely wrapped around her hand. Now, I don't mean a little burn or a flicker of heat. Her entire hand was engulfed in fire. People watched in horror. It lasted 15 minutes, point 15 dot, and when the flame finally went out, her hand was untouched. Not a single blister, not even a red mark. Still think this is exaggeration? Try holding your hand over a candle for 5 seconds. Oh, wait. Bernadette would go on to live quietly in a convent, where she spent her final years suffering from tuberculosis. But even in her pain, she remained devoted, offering up her suffering for others in prayer. She passed away on April 16, 1879, at the age of 35. Should have been the end of the story. The young girl sees visions, performs a few miracles, dies young, buried and remembered, right? Wrong point. 30 years later, in 1909, the Catholic Church began the process of canonization. Part of that process involved exhuming her body. They expected what anyone would after 3 decades underground: bones, some decayed cloth, and the usual remains. But what they found changed everything. 2 doctors, Dr. David and Dr. Jordan, were present for the examination. And what they uncovered: buried. Her skin was soft, her joints still flexible, muscles intact, nails perfect, no smell of rot. No sign of decay. It was as if time had skipped over her. And no, these weren't religious enthusiasts seeing what they wanted to see. They were trained medical professionals, neutral observers with no reason to lie. Still, the church wanted more confirmation. So 10 years later, in 1919, they opened the tomb again. This time, doctors Talon and Compine led the inspection. And once again, what they saw defied all logic. Still whole, still soft to the touch, doctor. Compine's written report called the state of her body astonishing and not consistent with the natural laws of decomposition. Let me give you some perspective. A body buried for even a few weeks usually shows serious signs of decay, but we're talking about 40 years. And then came a third exhumation, 1925, 46 years after her death. Doctor. Knott was brought in to conduct a final examination. His conclusion? Her body's preservation was beyond anything medical science could explain. The only slight change was some darkening of her face and hands caused by contact with air. To preserve her appearance, a thin layer of wax was applied to those areas, and that's how she remains today. Since August 3rd, 1925, the body of Saint Bernadette has been displayed in a crystal coffin in the town of Nevers, France. What's even more amazing is the feeling people report when they visit: calm, peace, a sense that they're standing in the presence of something sacred, and the spring she uncovered still flows. Still heals. To date, the Catholic Church has officially recognized 70 miraculous healings from the Lourdes Spring. We're not talking about vague improvements. We're talking cancer cured, paralysis reversed, blindness healed. Each case is studied by teams of independent doctors and researchers, and only when no explanation can be found is it called a miracle. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Thousands more claim they've been healed. Every year, over 6 million people travel to Lourdes. 6 million. Many of them desperate, hopeless. Many leave transformed. And now Pope Leo XIV has spoken. He recently made a rare public declaration about Bernadette's incorrupt body. He said, "This is not mythology. It's not legend. It's a mystery grounded in reality, something science cannot dismiss and faith cannot ignore." And honestly, what strikes me most about her story, it's not the healings. It's not even the body untouched by time. It's who she was, a poor, sick, uneducated girl from a forgotten village. Someone no one noticed. Someone the world never expected. But she was chosen. Bernadette once said, "I was just a broom. I swept where I was told. Then I was put back in the corner." And maybe that's exactly why she was chosen. Maybe you felt overlooked too. Maybe you think your life is too small, too ordinary for anything meaningful. But Bernadette's story says the opposite. Her preserved body is more than a mystery. It's a sign, a silent testimony that what she experienced was real. That miracles still happen. That hope is never wasted. When you look at her face, still and serene after nearly 150 years, you're not just seeing the past, you're seeing a promise that death isn't the end, that love outlasts the grave, that the impossible is still possible. So if this story stirred something in you, if even a small part of you feels moved, share it. Leave a comment. Tell us where you're watching from, and answer honestly. Do you believe in miracles now? If you want more stories like this, true stories that challenge what we think we know, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because the same power that preserved Saint Bernadette's body for nearly 150 years is still available today. It can move in your life. It can heal, restore, and renew. So keep believing, keep hoping. And whatever happens, don't close your heart to the impossible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any updates.